So on the day when President Trump had vowed to wipe out the entire civilization, and then a 2-week delay or a ceasefire was announced, and then came the violations. An orange glow that lit up the sky in Beirut, in Lebanon, even as Israel continued with its strikes on the Lebanese capital. Iran and United States and Israel, which had agreed for a 2-week ceasefire on Tuesday, an 11th-hour deal that headed off the U.S. President Donald Trump's threat to unleash bombing campaign. Hours after this very announcement, Iran and the Gulf Arab countries reported new attacks on Wednesday, though it was not clear if the strikes would scuttle the deal. All sides have presented vastly different versions of their terms. Iran says that the deal would allow it to formalize the new practice of changing ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz, while Trump says that the U.S. would work with Iran to remove the buried enriched uranium, though Iran, however, has not confirmed that. Let's talk about the mediators. Pakistan and others saying that the fighting would pause in Lebanon, which Israel has invaded to fight Iran-backed Hezbollah militant groups. But Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says that the deal does not cover fighting against Hezbollah, as Israeli strikes hit multiple dense commercial and residence area in central Beirut on Wednesday afternoon without any warning, killing dozens and wounding hundreds of people. Iran, meanwhile, in response, has closed the Strait of Hormuz again in response to the Israeli attacks against Hezbollah in Lebanon. And the ceasefire may formalize a system of charging fees in the Strait of Hormuz that Iran instituted and give it a new source of revenue. Now, what is being said? Because Iranian attacks and threats, however, deterred many commercial ships from passing through the waterway through which 20% of all the traded oil and natural gas passes in peacetime. Let's, in the meantime, talk about air raid sirens that continue to sound in northern occupied Palestine, following missile launches coming in from Lebanon. And this seems to be the very development that has been taking place, because on Israel's front, the objectives are very different. Israel, however, wanted this war to continue. Israel says that it was closing in when it comes to the very weakened, as they have been calling it, the Iranian regime. And of course, when it comes to multiple command sites and when it comes to Hezbollah, the command centers in Lebanon, that, according to Israel, have been destroyed. And they are very much deep within when it comes to the territory of Lebanon as well. Let's get in a word from Mayank, who is joining us live this morning. Mayank, good morning. Multiple details have been coming in, because everything seems to change from the last 24 hours. And there are completely different versions that are coming in from Israel's side, from Iran's side, and from President Trump's side.
Good morning, Amita. And in fact, it all becomes precarious again, and the way the things are getting unpredictable. And we don't know which side the things will settle down to, because every side has its own version of things, as you had already spoken about. But then, yes, while we were in Tel Aviv also, Israel has a very clear-cut goals and aims which it had been achieving. And not only it had been using its air force to hit the objectives within Iran, but then largely towards Hezbollah side. They had been continuing tenaciously with the kind of operations and targeting very deeply and selectively also, but then in a larger manner, and which continues. And as we are hearing that almost 180 people have lost their life, which has the government of Lebanon has accepted about that, and almost 800 people are said to be injured. So what you see is actually larger in the larger milieu, if you see. And on the Iran side, they have tweeted and brought out the screenshot of what Shehbaz Sharif, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, had talked about, or rather he had worded things about the ceasefire. And that included Lebanon in that text. So what we see is Lebanon might become a sort of a pain for everyone. The way the operations have continued from the Israel side. But Israel has also been saying that they continue with the operation in case that is needed. But larger aspect is about the certain things which have now been mentioned again.
Yes.
And that is ballistic missile, that is nuclear and ballistic missiles, enriched uranium again. And that could become a larger part of the discussions, for which Vice President J.D. Vance is leaving for Pakistan. I mean, that would take place today or
But
maybe
what
later.
is needed at this point is clarity. Clarity on the points that has been agreed to from all of the sides that seems to be directly involved, because there is already a deep sense of, trust deficit. And that seems to be now leading to these violations, these ceasefire violations, and what we are talking about within 24 hours of this truce call that was made by President Trump.